Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryamkaravavahe Tejasvi Navaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hello everyone. Hello, hello. So today we're going to be touching on a very special subject, as you can see on the images here. The connection between our voice and our womb. You know the saying, as above, so below. There is an intimate physical and energetic connection between our voice and our womb, between our hips and the jaw, between the pelvis and the throat, between the second chakra and the fifth chakra. For hundreds of years in Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, this has been long known. And now there is more research and academic studies to prove this connection, to prove this mirroring. The Latin root word cervix means neck. So the structure of the jaw and the structure of the pelvis are so similar. You can see in the pictures attached. And this is what we've been talking a lot about, this emotional stress that is held on the hips is going to mirror and be held also on the jaw. And so to kind of show you this, there's an interesting exercise that we can do together. So you can picture your spine, right? And the jaw at the top, and at the bottom, your pelvis, your hips. And so what we're going to do together is you're going to chatter your teeth, like do this. And while you do that, I want you to tilt your pelvis forward and back while you chatter your teeth. And then you're going to do the same thing side to side. So if I'm doing this, forward, back, you do that on your own timing. And I want you to notice subtly, is there anything that you're noticing in your mouth, in your teeth? Often you will feel that this chattering kind of starts shifting as you move because your jaw is trying to balance your center of gravity. One is going to mirror the other. If your jaw is stuck, often your hips will tense. The mandibule or jawbone has two joints at either side, and it crosses the midline of the body, front and the back. The sacrum at the end of our spine also crosses the midline and has two joints, the sacroiliac joints at the sides, and the pelvis has its hips on the side. Ancient wisdom lives within our womb spaces and wants to be expressed through our voice. This is what we're talking about today. So we know that the womb is our creative center, but the voice is the portal of expression. The pelvic floor is often described as the gateway to unlocking this sort of potential for spiritual awakening. When you don't speak your truth, you feel a tightness that can be mirrored in your throat and in your pelvic floor. For thousands of years, as we know, Eastern yogic sciences have charted the subtle connection between what we know of these wheels, these energetic wheels called the chakras. According to these sacred teachings, the power in the energetic center of the throat is found by expressing the deepest needs and desires that rest within the sacral center or womb space. But in our case, women, we've been systematically, we've been shamed in both centers for centuries. As you know, times in the planet where wise women were persecuted just for knowing how to heal, how to live in rhythm with the earth, with the moon, how to listen to our intuition, for knowing the ways of the woods. And for thousands of years, just in Europe alone, countless women killed for being witches. Through our time, the number of wise women killings and persecutions are in the millions, and this, I truly feel, impacts us today deeply in kind of the genetic makeup of just being a woman. So through subtle and sometimes not so subtle programming through our lives, we are taught to simultaneously silence our throat center by holding our tongues as we oppress our fullest expression for fear of being shamed or even being in danger. And we are taught to silence our needs and desires so we can keep others happy. We must be the good girl. We must be quiet and smile and be pretty, or we'll be labeled crazy, selfish, loud, too much, too opinionated. But the truth is, the feminine force that flows through each of us is fiat, because it has the power to both create and destroy. Just like Mother Earth, the feminine can manifest as a beautiful flower or an exploding volcano. We have that divine range. In subtle anatomy, the pelvis is considered the home of Apana Vayu. This is a form of prana, a form of wind. We have 5 types of winds in the body. And Apana Vayu influences our down and out functions, including elimination and reproduction. The pelvis also houses the foundation for spiritual development in the root chakra, where we find potential blockages around issues of family, belonging, worthiness, self-acceptance, and groundness. And we also find an energetic connection to our limbic brain, our primal reaction to fear. We can also talk about the Mula Bandha, or root lock for those yogis, which when practiced with other bandhas serve to help seal the prana in our central channel. And as we move from that root chakra, the Muladhara, up to the sacral chakra, which will be the theme for next module, we find our potential blockages around issues of sexuality, creativity, fluidity, our ability to adapt to change, our ability to connect with other human beings. From a biomechanics perspective, a lifetime of sitting and wearing shoes among other cultural habits profoundly impacts the position of our pelvis, the tension in the muscles and the fascia supporting all the organs. Even the way we habitually sleep or walk becomes the shape of our bodies. The physical connection between the yoni and the throat is also the vagus nerve, which is the largest nerve in the body, connecting the brainstem to the sacral nerve plexus. And the fascia, the soft tissue that covers all the structures in the body, bones, organs, muscles, that runs through the whole body, unites kind of also the yoni and the throat. So when we talk a little bit about the vagal nerve, research understands that the vagal nerves go from the cervix, uterus, probably all the way towards the yoni. And the vagus nerve is super important because it's the largest nerve in the body and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So it's able to send a sight of relief through the entire nervous system. It's stimulated through a number of different means, including diaphragmatic breathing, which we will also learn a little bit of pranayama. So another important way to work with a vagal nerve, and this is why we touch again back on this connection between this pelvic area and the organs of the neck and the throat and this chakra, is when we vocalize, when we sing, when we sound. It makes sense that chanting and the Om sounding has been a popular practice for relaxing the nervous system in ancient times, since ancient times. Deep breathing with vocalization also enhances our sexual pleasure. When someone is fully in their voice, they're often fully in their sexuality. Identifying a dissociation between the two can be an important first step in building greater capacity for expression, for communication, and for pleasure. Not only are the yoni and the throat very similar, but from an anatomical perspective, but they're also energetically linked. So you notice what happens when you kiss somebody that you like or that you love with wet, soft lips. What happens in your yoni? What about when you sound an orgasm? Opening the throat, vocalizing your pleasure, and relaxing that area relaxes and opens up the pelvic floor. Likewise, if the throat is constricted, so too will the yoni and vice versa. If we force something inside our mouth quickly, we choke, we gag. So too with our yonis. Historically, women speaking up or being loud during sex has been not well looked upon, as male pleasure and procreation have been the primary focus. But with women, it was mostly just about reproduction, right? So with a history of being denounced and humiliating for speaking in our power, for speaking from a place of empowered sexuality, it's no wonder that we still kind of hold this in our bones, in our ancestral and cellular memories. So working with a voice, learning to vocalize, to hum, to sing, to express from a power center, from our sex center, can be a huge part of the solution of reclaiming our feminine power. As we allow ourselves permission to make sound, to work through the fears and resistance that may arise with expressing that our true desires, our true power, as we open our mouths and create space, so too we allow space inside our yoni, inside our womb. And this is such a fascinating portal of opportunity, because also in between the two lies the heart. It links it together, right? Through the heart, we can find the courage to speak from an empowered place. In Latin, the word for heart is cor. That's why in Spanish it's corazón, but it also comes, it's linked with the word courage, courage, which originally meant to speak one's mind by telling all one's heart. So as we start to own our voices, we start dropping deeper into our bodies, connecting to the primal, to the sexual power that resides in our wombs, in our yonis. We connect deeply to that fire, to the rage, to the passion of the feminine. In that passion of now and of eons past, we embody both the dark and the light. We connect to the potent energy of Mother Earth as she moves through us. We embody it. We allow it to be seen, to be heard. And through the sounds, these hums, these moans, these vibrations, both at a personal and transpersonal power of our sexuality, it will emerge the unrepressed. We return to our original, primal, raw state of wild innocence. The sound of this power can be pure and harmonious, or it can be wild, like a lion's roar. One of the best ways you can learn to speak up, to build your confidence, to reclaim your sexual power is to use your voice, singing, chanting daily. It will not only bring you so much joy, but it will also activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It will stimulate the whole sensory body, humming, making noise, especially when you're enjoying something, when you taste some delicious food with one big exhale. When you make love or self-pleasure, make sound, notice how the actual pleasure in your body responds. So a powerful way to access bliss, true bliss, is by sounding. And it can start with connecting to the sound of your own breath, making a sound for every exhalation, not just from your throat, but from your whole body, from your womb, from your yoni. So if we take a deep breath together right now, and then we're going to exhale with a nice relaxed ha. Inhale with me. Try this a few times during your day, especially when you sense moments of constriction, of tightening. As you sound, Bring your awareness to releasing any emotional tension to pave the way for more bliss and pleasure. Sounding will encourage you to move sexual energy up into your heart and through your whole body. This is because its expressed vibration activates the entire energetic flow. And yes, maybe it's going to be strange and challenging at the beginning, especially if you're disconnected from your body or if you have been conditioned to keep your pleasure very quiet. But give it a try, knowing that the pleasure will increase the more as you allow sound to be expressed. And I'm not just talking about sexual pleasure. I'm talking about pure bliss, the bliss of being a woman. And that way we can even release fear, guilt, shame around sound. And the way that you want to do it also is with your jaw relaxed. Sometimes we just want to massage a little bit the muscles and the joints and the bones here. Loose your mouth, maybe do some exercises, and later on our final song together, we will do some gentle exercises with sound. And you can also sound from one or the more chakras, kind of like really visualizing while you do the sound to support inner vibration of your heart chakra deeply. Imagine that you are this hollow bamboo flute resonating from top to bottom. You can imagine also that your throat has the capacity to vibrate with whatever sound is alive in the yoni. So keep bringing awareness to the connection between the throat and the yoni and the aliveness in between. Move and breathe with this aliveness. Singing is one of the most joyful and calming spiritual practices for me personally. I can really feel it in my body when I go days and days without allowing my voice to resonate or singing or chanting. Especially, I think, because I was married to a composer and he never thought my voice was very good, my singing voice. And now that I've sat in ceremony and worked in ceremony for so long, I've kind of like completely losing up my voice, understanding also that when you sing, you're not performing. You mostly look at it from a place of prayer, right? And so now I really can understand and embody this way of my body opening up and relaxing when I sing. When I sing by myself, or when I sing along to music, or I chant, or I practice the art of devotional song or bhakti kirtan, music has the power to heal, to activate, to integrate, to liberate. We've all likely experienced how music and sound can evoke our emotions, alter our mood, lift our energy. So feeling off balance and sick often arises when we are out of tune, right? Music and the healing sounds of voice can truly harmonize the dissonance of your nervous system, connect you to your soul. It can help you come back to your body. And this is the main thing we're doing in this course together, is to come back to the body. We're often taught that making sound is not okay. We grow up and we're told not to laugh too loud. As we get older, not to make love too loud. You'll be hurt. You'll be shamed. A young child is usually so present in their body that when they're happy or delighted, they'll be cackling. And if they're angry, they'll yell. And if they're sad, they'll wail. Sounds are powerful when used with awareness. Our brain is wired in such a way that it gives so much particular importance on sound. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. No, it originates in the brain and travels all the way down to the internal organs. As we said, the fundamental regulator of the parasympathetic nervous system, which processes digestion, heartbeat, respiration, everything that we don't have to think about it. And it's responsible for restoring relaxation after a period of a cortisol and adrenaline spike, right? And so the ear and hearing have an effect on the rest of the body because of the proximity to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve goes through our face. And so basically stimulating the ear, and sometimes you can try this, because even massaging the ear and the inside of the ear, or do that to your partner, stimulates all the vital internal organs. The vibration of sound has a very significant impact on all areas of the body. This is one of the reasons why the use of sound in a therapeutic way is huge. And we're understanding that more and more with like tuning forks or Tibetan singing bowls. It's instantly calming and relaxing, helps the body come back to this nourishing rest and digest state as opposed to the fight-flight response. So a simple practice of toning, of producing vocal sounds, is usually vowels or humming. This will definitely have a tangible calming effect by virtue of the auditory stimulation of the vagus nerve. So next time that you notice yourself in a kind of stress response, see what happens when you allow yourself to gently sound. Bring in deeper breath and some gentle movements to the body. That can also enhance this even farther. We're going to learn later on a little bit of pranayama and some beautiful humming breathing that is also very, very relaxing. Another thing that I do quite often is Bhakti Kirtan or devotional song, because it has such a power to connect us to our kind of embodied awakening. It permeates our minds, our bodies, our spirit. It's with these very soothing and rejuvenating qualities. And so it doesn't have to be a religious experience for you. For many, yes, because Kirtan is sung in Sanskrit and it's in devotion to a particular god or goddess. But these are ancient chants that contain powerful, renewing, transformative energies. And that can help us reconnect with the divine inside of us. So it doesn't matter who you sound like. It's just kind of everybody together becomes one voice. And this practice has really become for me a very powerful experience of also opening up my voice and singing in groups, in unity, in choirs. It's incredibly potent. It's like why we heal better in community. So this has been the video about learning a little bit of this incredible mirror connection that we have. And now you have a little bit more on your toolbox. And I'll see you on the next one.